Get everybody in the room. We'll get started. Today is, for us, it is a Moose Day. It is a Monday, Tuesday combo. I like that. That's my new word of the day, Moose Day. It's actually Tuesday, May the 26th, and we're extremely excited to have everybody joining us. And it looked like we weren't going to have very many this morning, and then it just kind of blew up all of a sudden. So that's been awesome. So good morning, auxiliary family. We were very excited that you've joined us this morning. Hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend. I know I did, and hope you did too. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. You know, our housekeeping, it's the same every morning. If you have comments or questions, chat them in. If you are joining us on YouTube Live, then you can type your question or comments in there. Julia will pull them over for us into Zoom so that we can ask them here. And then if you're joining after the fact and not live, you can go to auxiliary.uga.edu, click on the Auxiliary Connections tab, and then select Survey and Feedback, and leave your questions or comments there, and we will address those then. So with little to no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get Katherine, you ready? This is one of those days where it's Katherine and Katherine. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Katherine Ingerson, registered dietitian for Dining Services, is going to be presenting for us this. So take it away, Katherine.
Okay. Hold on just a second while I share my screen with everybody this morning. All right. I'll make sure it's all right. Looks like it's working just fine. Good morning, everybody. So I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. I did. And today we're going to be talking about some healthy snacking one-on-one. We have a nice eat this, not that theme, so that it's pretty straightforward. Last week, Mariah talked a lot about the different factors that can contribute to snacking and if you want to snack and why you might be feeling to snack. Today, I'm just going to talk about nutrition kind of basics of what you should snack on. If you have a craving for something sweet, how often should you eat that? Should you change it to something a little healthier? What are some ideas to make your snacks healthier? We're going to talk about some salty snacks too, and then wrap it up at the end with, once again, like the frequency of snacking. And then I'll also have some tips for if you have special dietary considerations, like perhaps you have high blood pressure or cholesterol, some things that you can do to adapt to make sure that you're following those special diets to be healthy. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about this morning are some sweet snacks, okay? So I picked one that's pretty popular. What you're going to see on the left side is the original snack, like Oreos. A lot of people really like Oreos. They want to snack on Oreos. And so they say, well, how can I do that in a healthy way? So there's really kind of like a trick question to that. It really depends on you. So what is your activity level? Are you overweight? Do you have any dietary considerations? Like, do you have blood pressure problems? Are you diabetic? Do you have a sodium restriction because of heart disease or renal problems or with your kidneys? And so it really comes down to what you think you should be doing for yourself. And you can talk to your doctor about it, but you can also talk to other health professionals that you're working with, including a registered dietitian like myself. And you can also kind of go with your gut. Like if you know that you're overweight and you want to lose some weight, then you probably shouldn't be snacking on Oreos every single day. What a nice rule of thumb that I like to tell everybody is you can have something sweet or salty, snacky every single day. However, it comes down to the portion, right? Are you eating 2 Oreos? Are you eating 4? Are you eating the entire sleeve? So it really comes down to how much do you like to eat of those Oreos when you want an Oreo. Moderation's key. So if you're having 2 Oreos every day, you really don't need to switch it out to something healthier. It's only 2 Oreos. If you're having, when you sit down to have Oreos, you find yourself that you've eaten the entire sleeve by yourself, well, then maybe you need to have something else instead of just Oreos. Because especially if you're eating like half the package, what you really should find at that point is that you're probably hungry and you shouldn't just have a snack. Maybe go ahead and make yourself a sandwich and then have your Oreos. Or maybe go ahead and say, these 2 Oreos are not going to cut it. 4 Oreos are not going to cut it. 6. I want more than 6. Say, okay, well, how about something more substantial? So what I've got on the screen here are things that you can do so you can get that Oreo taste, but you're also snacking on some other nutrients. So for example, the Oreo cookies and cream, they have little yogurt things you can find at the store that have Oreos in it, or you can make it at home. Just buy some yogurt, plain or vanilla, and then get some Oreos and crumple it on top, put a little parfait layer, stir it in, and then you're getting the flavors that you really enjoy, but you're also getting the protein from yogurt. And you're also getting the calcium from yogurt. And you're not just getting sugar and carbohydrates from your Oreos. The other thing you can do is you can buy fat-free or low-fat frozen yogurt with Oreos in it. And I promise when I serve this to people like my kids, I've served it to my dad before. They're like, this is delicious. They can't tell that it's low-fat ice cream or that it's made with frozen yogurt instead. Some people are afraid of trying frozen yogurt because they think it's going to be sour, but it's not sour at all. Matter of fact, it just tastes like ice cream. They still put sugar in the frozen yogurt, so it's going to have a nice sweet taste, but you're going to get the Oreos in there, but you're going to get protein and calcium versus if you just buy like Haagen-Dazs. That's just made really with cream. I mean, there's some milk there too, but the nutrient value, the protein, the calcium value in ice creams that are made from cream is pretty negligible. So if you look at Haagen-Dazs and you flip it over on the back and you try to see how much calcium's in it, it's 0 or 2%, maybe 4%. Whereas if you get like a frozen yogurt or a low-fat frozen ice cream, you can find ice cream that has 10% of your daily calcium in the ice cream alone. So you just kind of have to ask yourself, like, am I in a crunchy mood where I really want to crunch the Oreos? And maybe that's better to crumble them on top. Am I in a creamy mood? Like, why am I wanting an Oreo? And it could be any cookie. It doesn't have to be Oreos. It could be like, oh, Chips Ahoy, chocolate chips. Maybe you like peanut butter cookies. Like, why are you wanting something, that flavor, or is it the crunchiness? And then that will help you know, like, well, maybe that yogurt with some peanut butter cookies crumbled on top is going to hit the spot, or you can be like, no, I want something crunchier than that. So you kind of have to ask yourself to know if these things are going to work for you. The other thing you can do is make like parfaits. We have pudding here. You can make it with whipped cream. You can make it with yogurt and pudding layers, and then just put Oreos on top. You're going to still get that really fun flavor. It's going to be pretty. It's delicious. It's yummy. But the calories aren't quite as high as eating that whole sleeve of Oreos, right? And it's still a very satisfying dish. You can even make the pudding with like skim milk so that you're getting really low fat, some calcium in there, some protein. And yeah, it's still a lot of sugar though. So you have to ask yourself, like, what's my goal here? Why am I wanting this snack? An even healthier thing to do is to mix it with fruit. So I really love fruit in my dessert. And so this would be the perfect thing for me because I like Oreos, but I like the fact that it's just one. And what you do is you put it in like a muffin tin, and then you take yogurt and fruit and you freeze it. And then it's delicious. And then there's recipes you can Google online to figure out like what to make something just like this. Or you could say, well, go ahead and put yogurt in, or I'm going to do a little bit of frozen yogurt, or come up with your own smoothie concoction that you can pour over that Oreo, or just find someone's recipe online. But mixing it with fruit and yogurt, it's creamy, it's cold, it's delicious, but your nutrient values go up because you added fiber. You added vitamin C from the strawberries. The blueberries have things that are great for your memory and for your heart, and different phytochemicals that are great for you. And then there's also things like you could put kiwi, pineapple, all of those have wonderful nutrients that help lower blood pressure. So if you have blood pressure problems, It's way healthier to say, I'm going to put some fruit and yogurt, because fruit and yogurt actually lower your blood pressure. And then have a little bit of Oreos in there, right? And that way you're getting kind of that crunch, that chocolate, but it's much healthier snack overall. You can also say that you love cookies. A lot of people love chocolate chip cookies, and you're just going to make cookies and you're going to eat cookies. Or they're going to go to the store and buy a package of cookies and once again, just eat the whole row. So you can say, all right, how often should I be eating cookies? Well, once again, you can have something sweet every day, something small, like have one big old chocolate chip cookie a day, and that's like your sweet for the day. Or you can say, I don't want anything sweet today. I'm eating pretty healthy all day. I think I'm going to not eat any sweets for 2-3 days in a row, so that twice a week I can have like a giant slice of cheesecake. That absolutely works too. So you can have something small every day or something giant like once or twice a week. The other thing you can do is, once again, instead of just eating a cookie, you could say, well, let me make it a little healthier. And if you make it healthier, then it's easier to have something sweet every single day without it causing problems for your health. So instead of just eating a bunch of cookies, which, hey, once in a while you just want a cookie. It smells like home. It reminds you of grandma. So enjoy a cookie. Or you can do something like this. You can make a giant cookie and put fruit all over it. And that layer, you can put Cool Whip with fruit on top, or you could turn it into, some people will do cream cheese, but you can do yogurt there too. And I've had it with yogurt and it's really, really delicious. You can also mix the yogurt with Cool Whip to make it less, so the yogurt's not quite as sour, but it's really still delicious. And one of the best fruit dips that I've ever had is actually lemon yogurt, just lemon yogurt by itself, and then a little bit of Cool Whip, and then you mix them together, and it is so light and refreshing and delicious and sweet, and it doesn't taste sour at all. But it's not heavy, so you can keep on doing that on a nice summer day when it's hot outside, and without it weighing you down or making your stomach feel sick, or like, oh, I just ate too much, or oh, that was just too sweet and too heavy. Another great thing that I like to do is like take chocolate syrup and drizzle it on fruit. So sometimes you want something chocolatey, and that's why you wanted that chocolate chip cookie. So maybe just dip your your fruit in chocolate sauce. Another thing you can do when you want chocolate chip cookies is think, okay, is it the cookie? Is it the warmth and the chewiness I wanted? Or was it just the chocolate chips? You know, I know a lot of times growing up, I was like, Mom, can we make chocolate chip cookies? And it was really because I just wanted chocolate chips. And I'd sit there and I'd snack on the chocolate chips while we were making the cookies. And then the cookies would come out of the oven and I wouldn't even eat one. And so I realized as I got older to ask myself, like, do I really want chocolate chip cookies, or do I just want chocolate? Right? So if I just want that chocolate chips, this is a great snack idea, because you can say, oh, well, let me just go ahead and eat what I want, put the chocolate in something. So maybe it's a handful of chocolate. You just have like some chocolate chips, or maybe you want to buy like a chocolate bar or like little Dove pieces, or I like dark chocolate too. So sometimes I'll buy like a dark chocolate with almonds, sea salt type of bar, and it's really intense flavor. And you only need 2 little bite-sized bits, because it's so intense that it just coats your mouth and you're like, that was really satisfying. But it's also so intense that you really don't feel like eating a lot. So sometimes that will hit the spot. But then once again, sometimes you're hungry and not just snacky. And so you're like, no, I actually want something a little more substantial than just a bite of chocolate. So something like a yogurt parfait is great. You've got a lot of calcium in the yogurt. You have the fruit that's going to give you fiber. Berries are fantastic for keeping our fiber levels up, but they're also wonderful for our brain and for our heart health. They're one super nutrient or powerhouse, I should say, one of those food superfoods, because they have so many nutrients in just a little handful. And so you can do some granola, you can do nuts in there. And then if you have high blood pressure problems or diabetes, like this is much healthier than a cookie, because the cookie's just sugar, fat, flour, a lot of empty calories, whereas the yogurt is going to give you nutrients that actually nourish your body. You're going to have less calories overall. The calcium of course, is in the yogurt, but the yogurt also has potassium. Potassium is great for your blood pressure. And yogurt has been found to help people with diabetes keep their blood sugars down. That if you just have yogurt every day, that your blood sugars actually improve over time. And that's a recent study that just came out. So there's like a double greatness for having yogurt. Now, if you're allergic to milk, you can always do like a soy-based yogurt or a rice or coconut milk and based yogurt instead. Or what if maybe you just hate the texture of yogurt? You can just do granola and chips, right? You don't have to put the yogurt in there. You can do trail mix. And so trail mix is a great snack because yeah, it's sweet, but can also be salty. So you could decide, okay, well, I'm going to put some M&Ms in there, or, oh no, I want Reese's in there, but then make sure you put nuts and you've got your fruit. I really like to try to find vegetables that I can try to throw into a trail mix. That's always like my challenge as a nutritionist, is like, how can I get more food groups, not just fruit and nuts? Then the one thing that you want to do when it comes to the trail mix ratio is making sure that it's not just a lot of chocolate and a little bit of like raisins or Cheerios or nuts, right? You want to say, yeah, I'll have my chocolate, but let's make sure the ratio is balanced. And then it will be healthier. But you can make sure that like you can go even healthier than the one I showed you before. So the other one had lots of nuts and like M&M candy pieces, or you can say, I want it to be even healthier and just have a little bit of sweetness in there. So you have more nuts or pistachios that you add. You can put pretzels in this. You can do the dehydrated fruits, and you don't have to just do raisin. You can be, good craisins. You can get all fancy and do dried mangoes. They have dried ginger that you can put in there for like a kick or a spice. There's wasabi peas that you can add at the store. You basically just want to break it down to things that you enjoy. So the picture on the left, I have all these different nuts. So pecans are one of the most powerful nuts in terms of antioxidant levels. Walnuts are fantastic because they have omega-3 fatty acids, and that's one of the few foods that have them besides like fish and flaxseed. So if you like walnuts and you're not allergic, it's a great brain boosting power food to have. Almonds and cashews, all nuts are healthy. Doesn't matter which one you pick, they are all healthy. Just a little bit of maybe dried cherries or other dried fruit. The coconut flakes are great because they're really sweet. You don't need a lot of them, but they sweeten it up. And then the picture I have on the other side is just being creative. Like you don't have to just do nuts, right? Use some cereal, use popcorn. Those dehydrated vegetables I was talking about, you can use things like the wasabi peas I mentioned. And a lot of times people are like, what in the world are wasabi peas? You can find them at Kroger and Publix in the section where they have like the nuts and dried fruit in these clear packages. So that's why I have this picture up there. If that's a clear package, they have a whole section of it at every store in town, and you can go through and find different vegetables that you like. If you like something with a burn of heat and spice that goes away and does not linger, then wasabi peas are great. And it's a good way to get some pea protein. It's a good way to get extra fiber and to get a vegetable in your trail mix. And then some people just want to snack on the wasabi peas by themselves. That's a little too powerful for me. I don't mind in my trail mix having a little surprise of heat, but I don't want to just snack on heat. Other people do. So you just have to ask yourself, how much of that do you want? And then other people are like, I don't want heat at all. Well, then that's okay, because there's a lot of different dehydrated vegetables you can find. And these are two other pictures of things you can find at Kroger or Publix here in town. And the one on the left is like a mixture of different vegetables, sweet potatoes, the green beans. I mean, everything is just, there's beets that they'll put in there. It's delicious. My kids actually love snacking on that. And I know I talked about okra in my last presentation. Once again, I'm sort of an okra. I love okra because we grew it growing up in our garden. And so I love okra chips. I think they're great. However, I have found that my kids, if I haven't bought this in a while and I put it out, it's gone. It is gone in 2 days. But then if I put it out again, they don't usually want to eat it again for a couple weeks. Like they go through spurts. They're like, oh, they love it and they'll eat it all. And then they're kind of like done and then they'll want to eat it again. And you might find that you're like that. I personally find that I'm like that with these. These are pretty powerful flavors. And so sometimes I'm like, yeah, I love this. I love this crunch. I love this saltiness. It's the vegetables, but there is some oil that they will put on these vegetables when they dehydrate it. And after so much, I'm kind of done with that flavor. And so then I'll want to wait a couple weeks before I eat these again. But these are something interesting that you can add into your trail mix. Or like I said, these are a great chip substitute instead of just potato chips. And I get really annoyed at the store because a lot of times we're wanting to have a veggie chip and we go through the aisle and we'll look and we'll find a veggie chip. And then you flip it over and it's a potato chip with spinach powder, or a potato chip with beet powder. And that's really upsetting to me because I'm like, just put the beets in there. Just give me a real green bean. Give me real vegetables in my veggie chips. And there occasionally at the chip aisle, I will find a bag of veggie chips that really has vegetables that are made with sweet potatoes or beets, or some have turnips, parsnips in there. And they're really interesting and they taste like potato chips and they're all these pretty colors. But then other times I can't find it at the store at all. The only thing I might find is like a sweet potato chip. And so then I'll go to the section of the store that has those plastic containers. And then that's when I'll get like a real veggie chip. Another thing that my kids really love to snack on is seaweed. It sounds really weird. I wish I'd gotten a picture of it to pull it up off the internet, but it's, you can just Google seaweed, dehydrated seaweed snack, and it comes in a package and it's layers of seaweed. I know it sounds so weird, guys. I promise it sounds weird, but my kids love it. It's like, it tastes like sushi. It tastes like sushi with no filling. So if you like that sort of savory, salty flavor, you'll love it. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have actually tried it before. But if you haven't, it only costs $1. So if you hated it, it was $1 and at least you tried it. Quite a bit comes in a package. And so usually what I do is like divide it into 2 or 3 servings and put it in snack baggies so that my kids will eat it in moderation, because otherwise they'll just eat the whole package by themselves. Some people, that's totally fine. If you want to eat the whole package, it's totally fine. It's got some iron in it and not hardly any calories. But it does have some salt. So if you have a salt restriction, you're not going to want to eat the whole package. So some sweet snack ideas that you can do if you're craving something sweet is say, okay, I want something sweet. Do I want it to be crunchy? Do I want it smooth? Do I want it decadent or chocolatey? And then you look and say, okay, well, here's some ideas. All right, so fruit, maybe you just need a piece of fruit. It's natural at the end of the meal to kind of crave something sweet. And so at the end of a meal, maybe just have a piece of fruit and that might just totally do it for you, especially if you eat fruit you haven't had in a while, like a honeydew melon. Or, a lot of people buy bananas and they eat those every day, or apples. But when's the last time you had maybe fresh pineapple or took a kiwi and sliced it up? Ask yourself, what fruits do I like that I haven't had in a while? And that at the end of a meal can be so satisfying. Or maybe you want to go a little further, even sweeter, get some Cool Whip, get some whipped cream, maybe make your own whipped cream. You take cream and you whip it up, right? And our chefs have some great ideas for that. So we can just ask them, right? So if you have an idea of like, hey, what would be good with this type of fruit? Put it into the presentation, ask questions for our presentation, and we'll make sure to send that on to our chefs to have some good ideas of what kind of whipped cream that you can make at home. But you can dip fruit in that. Unfortunately, whipped cream does not have any calcium or protein, though. A lot of times people say, oh, it's milk, it's so healthy. And actually, it's just the cream from the animal. And so there's no protein and no calcium. So it's not very nutrient dense. However, if that's how I can get someone to eat fruit, then that's a great way to eat more fruit. You can also dip it in chocolate syrup or caramel. Take a banana, slice it, drizzle chocolate or caramel on it. Delicious. Think about candied apples. You can get an apple, slice it up, drizzle some caramel on there. Awesome. Smoothies. That's a great way to get something that's really delicious and sweet, but super healthy. And you can make it very healthy or you can make it more on the milkshake level where you're adding ice cream to fruit, or you can add yogurt to fruit, or your juice to fruit, or you can put veggies in your fruit, and you have this whole spectrum of how much health you want to be or add to it and how healthy. But all of them are a great way to get your fruit and to be a little healthier than just eating a cookie, right? Yogurt. I know a lot of people that every night before, they have dinner, and then before they go to bed, they're watching TV like an hour or two after dinner. They have like a yogurt kind of ritual, and they're like, oh, I get my yogurt every night because it's sweet. It's something you kind of crave late at nights for some people, and it's just really delicious. A lot of people have a problem with craving sweetness at night. And the truth is that if you're craving sweets every single night, it's your brain's way of saying go to bed, that you are tired and you just need to sleep. And the longer we stay up and the less sleep we get, the more our brain needs sugar in order to function. And so if you find that I'm like, oh, I'm good all day, I don't want anything sweet, but at night, I just want to go crazy and eat all this sweet stuff. That's why your brain's saying, go to bed, please. Okay, so try to sleep, and if you really just like, well, I have this craving for something, yogurt, great way to do it. Dehydrated fruit's also a great way to kind of satisfy that sweet tooth, because you can do things like dried mangoes. They have banana chips. Like I said earlier, they have crystallized pineapple, crystallized ginger. My husband's favorite is crystallized ginger. He can eat that like all day. It's delicious. If you like that sort of kick of ginger and the freshness and the sweetness, it's very, very, very satisfying. You can also make pudding. I know it seems kind of old fashioned, right? Jello pudding is kind of what we grew up with as kids. That's all right. Pudding is delicious. It's a great way to get calcium. Jello, unfortunately, doesn't have much nutritional value. However, the cool thing with Jello is you can add all sorts of fruit into it. So you can take, mandarin oranges or bananas or apples or just about anything and dump it in, stir it in there, and you can make Jello that will have your fruit inside of it. And you can just put fruit on top, right? Or you can make those parfaits. Frozen fruit popsicles, there's a lot of different ones you can buy at the store. Some have more fruit than others. Some are fruit flavored, which means that they are mostly sugar water with a little bit of fruit in it. And then you have some that are fruit juice and fruit puree. Those are going to have more nutrient value than the other kind, right? And then you can make your own. You can say, all right, I'm going to take 100% orange juice and get those little plastic containers that you can make your own popsicles and put it in the freezer. And you just pour the orange juice inside those containers, or grape juice, or any juice, 100% juice that you love, fruit punch, and you stick it in the freezer, and then you pull it out and you have homemade popsicles that are really, really cheap and really, really healthy, because it's just 100% juice instead of 100% sugar, right? And then you can do things like chocolate covered fruit, chocolate covered nuts. There's a lot of different things to do with chocolate. So my sister's favorite is the cocoa roast almonds. I told her about this when I was in college, and she was just like, oh, I love those things. They're delicious. And so they're a great way to get that chocolate sweet flavor without all the sugar, right? Because it's just chocolate dusted. And that company, there's different companies out there, but that one has like a bunch of different flavors. So you can even get those spice nuts. You can get salty ones that are sweet and salty, or the chocolate covered ones. Once again, chocolate covered nuts. You can also do oatmeal and roll it into a ball. Like take like a packet of oatmeal, like those instant packs, and add just a little bit of water or a little bit of peanut butter, and you roll it into a ball, and then you can dip it in chocolate, and then you can just, eat it. It sounds kind of weird, but it's actually really delicious. You just have to put enough water and let it sit until the oatmeal, soaks up that either milk or water. And then you roll it into a little ball and you dip it. And then it's like an instant cookie for one. You didn't have to make a whole batch. You didn't have to turn on your oven, but you can just like make a cookie that way. I knew it. Another lady who told me that she would take instant oatmeal and open it up, put it in a frying pan, and add a little bit of water and turn it into like sort of like a pancake and like cook it on both sides and then eat it like a cookie, or a pancake. And she thought that was like really delicious and satisfying. I thought that was really interesting. So I tried it and it was actually really good. So it's kind of, when you do it and it's so thick like that. It really comes out more like a cookie than it does like just eating a bowl of oatmeal. My other favorite thing is chocolate covered orange rinds. I love lemon rinds. I know that sounds weird, but I love really strong flavors. And so when I was in college, I could literally eat a lemon like it was an apple. And when I went on vacation one time, I think actually I was on my honeymoon, and we found chocolate covered orange rinds and lemon rinds. And I was like, oh, I'm going to love that. And I was right. I loved it. It's just so good. But other people don't really like it. You can also do chocolate covered, like these oranges are so adorable, and you can put sprinkles and dip it with your kids. And you can do watermelon, and you can do different fruits. You don't have to just do strawberries, right? We all know chocolate covered strawberries, but you can do chocolate covered all sorts of different things. And then sometimes we forget about other things that are inherently sweet, like waffles, right? And so a lot of people like, oh, on their waffle, they'll just do butter and syrup. Why not do applesauce or fruit on it, or yogurt and fruit, or make like a parfait? We have a really fun video on the dining services website about making a waffle tower that has waffles and yogurt and fruit. And it is absolutely a delicious snack or dessert to have if you're wanting something sweet. Okay, so let's talk about some salty stuff. Maybe you crave, when you want a snack, you don't want anything sweet at all. Maybe you want salty. Okay, so let's talk about like chips, right? These happen to be my favorite chips. Growing up, I loved Fritos. I don't know why, nobody else in my family did, but I did. So how can you make that healthier? Well, you can turn it into nachos, okay? Now, here's the way to make the nachos healthier though, because you could just smother it in cheese, and that's not going to be very healthy, right? Or you can add a lot of fresh vegetables. So you can do lettuce, tomatoes, or bell peppers. If you like beans, olives, all of those can be really, really healthy. Yeah, you could do meat or decide not to do meat. If you do meat, you could do shredded chicken, which would be very healthy. I really like fish tacos, so you could do shredded fish or shrimp. You could also do ground turkey or beef. And then you could do cheese or no cheese. My daughter was allergic to milk when she was a baby. And so I got used to cooking things with no milk, no cheese. And so when we do nachos at home, we do all the vegetables and no cheese. So that might be weird for a lot of other people, but for us, it's become pretty natural because we're like, oh yeah, because she couldn't have it when she was little. And now that she's older, she can have some, but she can't have a lot because she's outgrowing that allergy, but she still has some issues. So you could do something like that. However, you could also say, Catherine, I don't have time for that. I don't have all those ingredients at home. What am I supposed to do? And when I want chips to make it healthier? Well, the easy way is just to add some salsa, right? And then when you add salsa, you could just do regular salsa, because tomatoes, think about salsa, tomatoes and onions, maybe bell peppers and spices, it's all vegetables. Salsa actually counts towards your vegetable intake. I know, sounds crazy, but it really does. It's just vegetables in there. The problem with salsa is if you get the canned kind, it can be really salty, right? So what you can do is look for chips that are unsalted. You can get tortilla chips that are unsalted. There's some new ones out in the store that are blue tortilla chips, and they have no salt at all. And I think they have a great flavor, even though there's no salt. It just has this kind of earthy, wonderful tone. And then you can put, instead of canned salsa, you can do fresh salsa, because any type of fresh salsa is going to have less salt than the canned kind. And let me go back one slide real quick. So I put these pictures up because you can also do things like peach salsa, pineapple salsa, black bean salsa. There's all sorts of cool, fun salsas out there that have fruits and vegetables in there that help maybe introduce you to a new flavor and spice things up. But they also help you think about food in a different way to boost those nutrients, and in a way that's something that you enjoy that maybe you haven't thought about before. You can make your own, which is fantastic, because then you can control the salt level, and then it's 100% healthy, right? And in onions, garlic, cilantro, any fruit that you can really think of that you enjoy would be really good in a salsa. And you just, add lemon or lime. The other thing too, if you don't want to make it from scratch, or you don't know how, or you're just like, I'm not going to ever do that, then think about buying the kind that come in a tub. The tub kind at the store has less salt than the canned kind. So the canned kind, for just a couple tablespoons, is like 400 milligrams of salt, which is a lot if you're on a sodium restriction. So what you want to do is look for this kind with the tub, because then it's usually only 150 milligrams of salt for the same amount. So you can eat this salt on a low sodium diet and, just don't drink the whole tub, but just have some, and it's way healthier salt, it's way healthier for everybody because we tend to get too much salt in our diet anyway, but especially if you have that restriction. And then let's talk about another salty food, right? It's popcorn. People love popcorn. But you got that buttery, greasy, kind of heavy. If that's your favorite, go for it. Like I said, once a week, do your decadent thing. It might be cheesecake. It might be a brownie sundae. It might be buttery popcorn. It might be a giant soda. Once a week, go all out is fine for most people. For the people it's not okay for is those people with dietary restrictions, so that if they went all out on a tub of popcorn like this, it could cause them to retain water, which would be very hard on their heart. So if you have a sodium restriction because of heart or kidney problems, you're not going to want to go all out once a week, unfortunately. You're going to need to do the modified, healthier version, which is something that's lighter. Now, you have to be careful. I put this picture up because it says natural. No preservatives, no flavors, no dyes. So you think, oh, this is healthy popcorn. But a lot of these natural popcorns are not any healthier at all than the regular movie butter stuff. Or if they are healthier, they're like this much healthier. That they still are really high in calories and they still put a lot of fat in there. It's just a different type of fat. So it's not going to help you if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to be healthier, or if you have restrictions, right? So what you want to do is look for the kind that says on there 98% fat-free or 93% fat-free, because then you're going to know like, oh, this is lighter. This is not going to be as greasy. And you can also look for like things that are already popped for you, Skinny Pop. There's a bunch of different brands out there that have popcorn popped for you. You don't even have to put it in the microwave. It's lighter. It's a good snack. Popcorn actually counts as a whole grain in our diet. I know that surprises a lot of people. So we're supposed to every single day make half of the grains that we eat whole grain. So instead of just white bread, eat whole wheat bread. Instead of white rice, eat brown rice. And instead of regular, and then popcorn though counts as a whole grain. But just, we don't want to cover it in butter too often, right? So there's healthier ways to do it. You can also make it on the stovetop. If you have a lid and a pan, you can make it a tiny bit of oil at the bottom, and then you just have to kind of move your hand the whole time so it doesn't just burn, but it will pop, and it pops within like, I don't know, like 8 minutes. It's pretty fast. You can also make it in the microwave. And when I make it in the microwave, you don't need any oil at all, unless you wanted to put some in there. And so you get a microwave safe bowl. You just put, say if I have a bowl that's about this big, you just put a little bit of popcorn on the bottom, and then you put a lid on. And if you don't have a lid that's microwavable, you get a plate, just a glass plate. So I'll do a glass bowl with a glass plate on top, and then you put the little bit of popcorn, and then you just turn it on. It usually doesn't take more than 3 minutes. It just depends on how strong your microwave is. And so what you want to do is you just push the button and you wait, and you'll see it start to pop, 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 pop. When it starts to slow down and you can count 1, 2, 3, and nothing has popped, that's when you stop it, because then you don't want to burn it. But it's basically just like a bag of popcorn, and usually most bag of popcorns you put in for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's done. It's the same exact way. And then there's no salt, no oil. It's not greasy at all. It's 100% healthy. And then some people would say, yes, but it's 100% tasting like cardboard. So now I have gotten used to the taste of plain popcorn. I can eat it. I don't want to eat like a whole bowl, but I don't mind handfuls of it. I think it's fine. Once again, my kids have had that since I was little, or they were little, so they'll eat it too. However, you can also flavor it. Like, you can add your own salt. You can add, get a container of Mrs. Dash. It's a lot of flavor, a lot of seasoning, but there's no salt. And so then you can add as much as that as you want. And I know people who put chili pepper, cinnamon. You can do, what was the other one? Nutmeg. Of course, you could do like a black pepper. I know people who do pepper and lime on their hot dog. I know some people who just do a little bit of hot sauce. I mean, you can do all sorts of things, but if you take a little bit of hot sauce and you coat those kernels before you pop it in the microwave, then they're all going to have a little bit of flavor and a little heat. So it really just comes down to your preference. Do you want sweet popcorn? Do you want salty? How do you like it? Do you like popcorn at all? If not, there's other ideas too. So for salty snacks, you can do things like nuts. Flavored nuts. You can buy the flavored nuts at the store. You can make them yourself. Like I've taken nuts, put them in a saucepan, and just kind of coated them with different seasonings. And you can do whatever seasonings you like. But I've done like just looked up recipes for spiced nuts and added all those spiced. And it takes like 7 minutes. It's really easy. And it's really delicious. You can also do those veggie chips we talked about earlier, dehydrated veggies we talked about earlier. The tortilla chips are healthier than just potato chips. They typically have a little bit less oil. Some brands don't, but they also have whole grains because they're made from corn. So they tend to be a little bit healthier. You can find different types that have either no salt or low salt. You can do the salsa. Once again, if you are just wanting kind of something salty, sometimes hummus and veggies hits the spot. Even though hummus is not salty, it still kind of helps that with that savory type of flavor that some people are looking for. Especially if you're wanting something crunchy, then like something like celery sticks or bell peppers or broccoli or carrots and salsa. All of those different fun combinations. Think about what you like, and that can really hit the spot sometimes. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is like, how often should I snack? And once again, it's sort of a trick question, right? Because it comes down to you and what your needs are. So are you a person who just wants a couple meals every day, and so that snack is pretty crucial? Or are you the person who's like, oh, I got to eat every 3 hours? There's not really a right or wrong way to do it. So we used to tell people, about 20 years ago, oh, you should eat every 3 hours. That is the ultimate way to be healthy and to boost your metabolism. And what we've known from the last 7 years of research is that's not necessarily true at all. So if you want to have 3 meals and no snacks, that's perfectly healthy. Like you do not need a snack to be healthy. Some people find that when they snack, they actually gain weight. That doesn't really help them with their appetite. Other people are the opposite. They're like, oh, snacking helps me from overeating at my meals. And so they want to have a snack every afternoon before they're making dinner. Or, so you have to kind of know your personality and like, why are you snacking? Is it because you need that energy throughout the day? Because some people do. They need every few hours. They just do better and function better if they have every 3 hours something. Other people are like, no, I don't need snacks to function. I'm good. I just need to eat my meals. And so they're not really a snacker. And so when they snack, it might be once a week. So the answer really comes down to what helps you meet your goals and to feel better. And if you find yourself snacking and it causes you to gain weight, then snacking is not going to be the best for you. If you find that you're snacking and it helps you get your nutrients in, because that's the only way you're going to get yogurt or calcium is if you snack on yogurt every night, then snacking is helping you reach your goals. It would be something that I actually recommend. Some people find they're great during the day, but they really need something at night. So then if you're craving stuff at night, then go ahead and plan for that snack, because it will be really, really important to help you meet your goals. And if you find yourself saying, well, how often should I snack on the real thing? Well, then once again, that will come down to your activity level, your goals, your health. Do you have any chronic conditions like heart disease or kidney problems or cholesterol problems? And so for most people, having, a big dessert once a week, totally fine. Absolutely can fit into a healthy diet. And then for most people, they can have something small every day, right? And when I say something small, you're like, I don't mean tiny. It could be like, oh, well, I'm eating healthy most of the day, so I want something like maybe like 3 pieces of chocolate, right? Or maybe they have 1 small or 2 small cookies, or maybe they want to have a handful of chips. Like that's what I mean when I mean something small. That's totally fine and appropriate, and it's not going to wreck your nutrition or make you gain a ton of weight. Like having something like, think of the snack baggies. If you can fit it in that snack baggie, you can have that every day, right? So you're like, oh, it's nuts I want. Or for other people, it's something like chocolate chips, or they want brownies. No, I don't mean like, smush this brownies until they fit into that baggie, right? Just like, okay, what do you want? Something small, totally fine. If the rest of your diet is healthy. However, if the rest of your diet all day long is like cheeseburgers and fries and mac and cheese, then you don't really have room for that snack or that dessert, because you've already had all those extra calories in your food during the day. So once again, it comes down to like, what are you eating? How are you eating? If all of your meals are really high, it's really greasy and really salty, then you shouldn't be having desserts and snacks too, because you really need to be boosting, like eat more fruits and vegetables. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. And do we have any questions?
Okay, now I'm hungry. Thanks so much for that. Let's see. We have we've had lots of comments. I don't see as many questions, but let me go back through and make sure I didn't miss any. Everybody talking about their comparing snacks. The chat is full of comparing snacks today, and this and the things that snack hack, if you will.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A great thing to do is to talk to each other and get each other's like tips and ideas that'll make you more creative.
All right, frozen bananas. Eating frozen bananas like they're ice cream.
Yeah.
Let's see. Various flavored sugar-free gums.
Yes. That's actually something that I didn't bring up at all, that sometimes just having gum or a hard piece of candy will hit your sweet tooth, and then you don't need to have a snack at all. And so you can say, oh, I'll just have some butter, like a piece of butterscotch or a mint or sugar-free gum is a great way to get over that craving.
Popcorn made with coconut oil. Yogurts, lollipops sweetened with, is it stevia, not sugar? Called Zolly Pops. That's
yes.
Words.
And especially for diabetic, something like that where you have stevia or xylitol can be helpful because it doesn't have a lot of sugar.
Okay. You mentioned yogurt lowering blood sugar. Is there a specific type of yogurt that does that, or is it an all? I can't imagine all types. Some of them are not as good.
So plain yogurt does it the best. And if you don't like plain yogurt, what I suggest is buy like your favorite flavored yogurt, like strawberry, peaches, and buy plain. Okay, 2 little containers. And then when you serve yourself, get half of each and mix them together. And then that helps you over time get used to having less sugar. And then that would help you transfer over. And then eventually some people, when they do that long enough, they can get to the point where they can eat plain yogurt with just fruit on top, or a little bit of nuts, or even a drizzle of honey.
Okay. Adding, is it chia seeds and granola crumbles to yogurt? I don't know.
That sounds like someone who's healthy. Adding some healthy stuff to their yogurt.
Trail mix, lots of different trail mix comparison recipes, if you will, in the chat.
Yeah, you can take the chia seeds and add it and actually make pudding out of it. So there's a lot of different recipes online that you can find for chia pudding, and some people love it, and other people's are like, oh, that's all right. So it just really depends on being adventurous.
Okay. This didn't work out at all. I can feel you on that. I can only imagine. With, let's see, frozen yogurt is the best smoothie. Add spinach, walnut, bananas, blueberries, and an apple.
Mhm.
Celery stick. Parfait. I know. Parfait. Who doesn't love a parfait?
And they're pretty.
And they're pretty. Smash seedless melon into the ice tray and then freeze and munch on those.
Oh.
Candy coated sesame seeds.
Oh yeah, that's good. And you know, someone mentioned frozen bananas. Frozen grapes are like the same thing, kind of tastes just like ice cream. Really delicious.
And then I don't know how I feel about that chocolate on watermelon. It just looks wrong to me. Agreed, Nikki. I'm same. It just something about that did not look right to me, but to each their own.
Yeah, I have to admit, I've never tried it. I just found that picture when I was looking for different fruit, chocolate covered fruit pictures. And I was like, hey, that looks adventurous. I would try it. I don't know if it would taste good, but I would try it. I have had watermelon with yogurt on top. You know, when you take that lemon yogurt I talked about and mixing it with Cool Whip and putting that on watermelon, that's amazing. That tastes like it's, once again, it's really fresh and light, but so sweet. That's really good.
So an unhealthy suggestion. I don't even know that I would. Oh, I don't. Chocolate dipped bacon. Keep going. Bacon and ice cream. I'm worried about you people. I like bacon, person, but y'all are ruining bacon for me. Let's see. Dumping everything into a Frito bag and shaking it and adding a fork. Yes, that sounds delicious. Chicken tacos, burritos. And y'all, we should not talk about these things right at brunch. This is bad.
We should move nutrition sessions to after lunch.
Yeah. How is honey wheat comparatively?
It depends. So some honey wheat is whole wheat with honey in it. That's great, perfectly healthy. Some honey wheat is white bread that only looks brown because honey was added. So you have to read the ingredients. So flip it over, look at the back, and the first ingredient should be a whole grain. If the first ingredient's white grain or enriched grain, then you know that you're really getting white bread with honey as food coloring.
Okay. Nacha says she has for years used a brown lunch bag, put a layer of popcorn on the bottom of the bag, add a dot of olive oil, and or various flavors, and then pop in the microwave.
Oh, that's great. I love that idea. I didn't think about using a paper bag, but that's perfect. It's already got like a lid, right? It's not going to pop out.
Yeah. And what are your opinion of diet sodas to regular sodas?
So it really depends on the person. Diet soda has sugar substitutes, and sugar substitutes kill the good bacteria in our gut, and which can cause problems with cravings and your mood and your concentration and even your immune health. And so for most people, I'm like, if you can don't drink them. Okay. However, if you are addicted to soda and you have to have soda every day, then diet soda is your best friend, right? Because you don't want to just drink soda all day. You know, some people drink so much soda that if they cut it out of their diet, they would literally lose 20 pounds in like a month because they drink that much soda. So if you find yourself that you're a soda fiend and you're drinking it all day long, then switch to diet. But what I really want you to do is try to cut down the amount. And then honestly, in a perfect world, everybody would have soda like once or twice a month. I know people are throwing things at me right now when I say that, but like ideally that's what you would want. But if you can get yourself to one a day, then you're doing so much for your health, whether it's diet or regular, if you can just cut it back to one a day. And what I like to tell people, if you really love that soda, sparkling kind of fizziness, try some sparkling water. But a lot of people find that those different fun flavors of sparkling water helps them get off of soda and then get off diet soda. And then you're still getting the flavor and feeling of soda without killing the bacteria in your gut. So it's, once again, it's like a trick question. It comes down to who you are and what your needs are.
Okay. Not going to the grocery store hungry. That the hard way. Yes, we are going to have the PowerPoint available as a reference. We'll have that up on the website as soon as possible. M&M Minis in trail mix gives Max the chocolate fix he needs in his trail mix.
Yeah.
The itty bitties. Carolyn mixes plain Greek yogurt in with her salsa and on her potatoes instead of sour cream.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a good idea.
Protein and calcium, where sour cream doesn't have either. So that's a great switch.
Let's see. Lots of yogurts are high in sugar and carbs. If you love yogurt and have a lot a day, is that not a good thing?
If you love yogurt and you have a lot of what?
A lot of the sugars are high in sugar and carbs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like, and so if you enjoy yogurt and are eating those, a couple of those a day, is that not a good thing?
Yeah, it really, once again, depends on what else you're eating. So if you eat, a lot of fruits and vegetables, then you had like a turkey sandwich on whole wheat bread, and then you have some really sugary yogurts, that's totally fine because you didn't really have sugar anywhere else that day. But if you're having sugar and, you had sugary cereal for breakfast, and then at lunch you're having fast food, and then at dinner, same thing, or snacking on things that are more processed, then that sugar, you're kind of getting a sugar overload with those yogurts. So what you have to do is look at your whole day and pick where you want your sugar, right? We can have 10%, up to 10% of our calories every day can be from sugar. So for most people, that's like about 200 to 300 calories. And that means it's like one dining hall cookie. Okay, so that puts into perspective. So if you can get away with plain yogurt or lower sugar yogurt, absolutely. But if that's your only place you're having sugar, then you don't need to change that.
Okay. Shout out to Will that said Shrek doesn't like parfait. Thank you for getting my reference. I appreciate that. So good on you. Don't mess with watermelon. But yeah, no, we're just with that chocolate on your watermelon. I'm just gonna let you have that one. Pumpkin seeds, frozen grapes, grapes with grapes and peanut butter pretzels are like a PB&J sandwich.
Oh,
What
that's interesting. Also, apple
on
pie and peanut butter, and make it like a PB&J, but instead of the jelly, you do apples, and make it like a little sandwich out of that.
Okay. What about cottage cheese and fruit?
Oh, absolutely. 100% healthy. If you love cottage cheese and fruit, then do it. Some people don't really like the cottage cheese, and so you just give it a try, be adventurous. I know some people will mix yogurt with their cottage cheese because it gives it a little bit of sweetness. But yeah, that's great.
Okay, so unbleached, enriched flour means it's just white bread.
Yes. Yeah. You want to look for the word whole. So it might be whole oats or whole grain or whole wheat. If it says something like barley, that's fine because that's a grain. So most of the time you'll find you can find like a whole wheat bread that has honey in it. That's the kind that you want to go for or try to find.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of cottage cheese. Max says cottage cheese. Mama says cottage cheese is the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know some people who put cottage cheese on their salads, like with salsa, or they'll mix it with say ranch, and then they use it as a dressing. And when I first saw that, I thought I was like, that's just nasty. But then I was like, no, I don't need to be judgy. I'm going to try it. And it was delicious. It is really good if you mix it with something else, but it's a thing, and you've got to get over the look of it too.
Okay, well, kudos to you for not being judgy. I'll stay over here and be judgy. Hard pass on that, but thank you. Okay, we are up with our time. We have used it all. Thank you, Catherine. This has been very informative. I'm very hungry now. Thank you for that. Hopefully I will make good snacking choices. And thank you everybody for joining us. This afternoon is at 2:00 is Healthy Sleep Patterns. So join us. Look forward to you joining us for that. And we will see you this afternoon or tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Bye, Catherine. Thank you.